Hello everyone, my name is Farhana Merchant and I will be your module tutor for this module, Academic Skills and Studying with Confidence. You can find more information about this module on Moodle and the Moodle code is BMM3113. You can reach me by email onto this email address, which is farhana@scholarschool.ac.uk. Today we will be talking about some important terms that are used in academic skills and academic writing. So first we will look at the learning outcome of this session. So what are we going to cover today in this learning outcome? We are going to talk about plagiarism, citation, paraphrasing, referencing, and quotations. We are going to learn about the what, why, and how of each of these terms. So what is plagiarism? We are going to look at it in detail. What is citation? What is paraphrasing, referencing, and quotations? And why should we avoid plagiarism? Why is it important to cite correctly? What does it mean to paraphrase content? And what is referencing? Why is it important? And how should we do referencing correctly? And what does quotation mean? How can we use quotations in our text, and whether we should reference it as well or not? We will learn a bit more about all of this. But before we go further, we will talk about what are academic skills. So academic skills are the traits and academic strategies that help you become a more professional student. They prepare you for career, help you stay focused and motivated, get you exposed to new ways of thinking, and so much more. These skills are more than just innate. So academic skills are not something that we are born with, okay? It is not something that we already know or we would know innately, but these are the skills that we acquire and we learn as we go on, as we grow up, as we study further, when we get involved into research and higher education. These are the skills that we acquire. Okay. So what are the different types of academic skills? Academic skills are note-taking, research, exams, and what does note-taking involve? Time management. What does research involve? Reading for further information and understanding. And how do we assess ourselves? How do we assess our work? Through exams and essay writing at the end of the term. So these are some of the skills that are very, very useful during our research work or during our studies. First, we will look at plagiarism. What is plagiarism? The action or practice of taking someone else's work, idea, etc., and passing it off as one's own, literally theft. This is the definition of plagiarism. So, what does it mean? It means simply to pass on someone else's work as our own without acknowledging them or without giving a reference to them in our work. It means that if somebody has done some sort of research work, if they have spent years and years of hard work conducting a research and has produced a book, and then after a few years, someone comes along and just copies the material and then republishes it again in their own name without acknowledging the work of the previous author, that is called plagiarism. And it is actually a theft. It is because you are stealing someone else's intellectual property. So many people think of plagiarism as copying another's work or borrowing someone else's original idea. But terms like copying and borrowing can disguise the seriousness of the offense. It can misguide you or mislead you, because it is like just like using a mask by saying that, oh, we are just borrowing someone's idea, but actually it is not just borrowing, but it is actually a theft. If you need to use someone else's idea in your work, you must always give a reference. As you can see over here, we have used someone else's idea, as you can see, because this is in quotation marks. So it's a quote or a definition that we have taken from somewhere else. And as you can see, this has been referenced as plagiarism.org. And this was retrieved in 2017 in bracket. So if you are just simply using it word to word from somewhere else, you have to reference it. This is a polite way of defining plagiarism, but in reality, it is stealing. So when we say that we are borrowing someone's work, this is a polite way of defining. This is a polite way of saying that we are actually borrowing, but in reality, it means stealing. So never steal, please. So why should we avoid plagiarism? Now we are looking at the why of plagiarism. Let's think about a few disadvantages of plagiarism. It is stealing someone's intellectual property. It is unethical. Your work can be rejected in case of plagiarism when it is checked through Turnitin, which is a platform that you will be sending all your assignments through. You might be penalized for it, and your work can result into a failure. So what is Turnitin? Turnitin is a platform that holds a vast selection of books, journals, research papers, and any kind of sources from the internet. So it has a collection of lots and lots of information on from the internet. It compares your work against these sources, and then copied contents are highlighted and a percentage is assigned to it. A specific amount is acceptable, which could vary from center to center, which means from university to university, from center to center, people have different criteria and they have different allowance. But at our university, we allow up to 20%. However, if no copied contents are found, it is still alarming, because if it is highlighted, too many items are highlighted in your work, it is still alarming. So you must always reference it. And this is an example of Turnitin, the app where you would be sending your work through. And as you can see, some text has been highlighted over here and certain percentage has been assigned opposite it. This shows that this work has been taken from somewhere else, although there has been a reference given over here, but it has still been highlighted. So what is allowed? Phrases, sayings, analysis models, names, and quotations are allowed to use as it is for word to word, but with a reference, titles and sources in your reference list. So you are allowed to use these, but you have to give the titles and you have to give the full reference in your reference list, the full source. Contents such as theories and analysis models taken directly from books, etc., are to be stated within double quotation marks and accurately referenced. As we saw previously, we just saw some definitions of plagiarism, which was in double quotations marks, and then at the end of it, there was a reference. So this is what it means, that you can use the quotations from other places, but you have to use it in double quotation marks and you have to reference it accurately. And the full reference needs to be given in the reference list. In text citation, what does that mean? In text citation simply refers to stating the name of the author and year at the beginning or end of the text that has been copied. If you are stating the source at the end, it should be name, comma, year, full stop, and page number, and then end of bracket, full stop. For example, Philip, comma, 1997, full stop, page, full stop, 14, bracket closed, and full stop. Always put a full stop when you close the brackets. However, if the name is used in the beginning, for example, Philip said so and so, if you want to write Philip said so and so, the name Philip will jump out of the bracket and the year 1997, comma, page 14 will remain in the bracket. So if it is at the beginning of the text, the name of the author will jump out and this is the example of referencing it if you are using it in the beginning. We will look at some of the examples. So all this time we've been using LTU Harvard system for referencing, but from now on we will be using APA style of referencing. And so these are the two examples. And as you can see in text citation, they are just identical. There is no difference between LTU Harvard and APA. However, there are slight differences when you are giving the reference in the reference list, which we will look at it. So paraphrasing, the next topic we are looking at is paraphrasing. What does this term mean? Paraphrasing is basically reproducing others' ideas in your own words. Does this still need to be referenced? Yes, it is still their idea. So if you are using someone else's idea in your work, in your material, you still need to reference it. Although if you are writing it in your own word, you are going to provide an in-text citation as well as in the reference list. So you will provide a short reference in the text and you will provide the full reference at the end in the reference list. Is this a good option? This is something that you can think about and you can do a little activity of paraphrasing in your own time. So what is referencing? Referencing means stating the source of information you used while producing your work. You need to be careful about the format as there are a few formats available. For example, Harvard referencing system, Vancouver referencing system, APA referencing system, and we at LTU will be using APA referencing system. It specifies separate methods for the type of sources used, such as books, websites, journals, etc. So there is a different method for each one of them. When you are referencing books, what do you need to do? When you use a book, do the following. This is an example of LTU. This is an example of Harvard referencing system. So you have the author's name, Cottrell, comma, S, full stop, that's the initial, full stop, and the bracket 2019, the Study Skills Handbook, that is the title of the book, 5th edition, London, the name of the city that it was published in, and Red Globe Press is the name of the publisher. For the full reference in APA style, you will still write the same thing as you can see, Cottrell, comma, S, full stop, 2019 will come in the bracket, and full stop, then Study Skills Handbook, which is the title, 5th edition, bracket closed, full stop, Red Globe Press. As you saw, the name of the city, London, is missing in APA system. And that is the only difference between Harvard and APA referencing styles. In Harvard, you have to write the name of the city, whereas in APA, you don't have to write the city. You don't have to write the name of the city, and that is why it is a little more simpler and easier way of referencing. So this is the format that you need to remember. Last name, comma, first initial, full stop, in the bracket, the year of publication, bracket closed, full stop, then title. You don't write the name of the city in APA, and then publisher's name and page number or edition, if any. This is how you will reference books. How about websites? So when you are citing journal articles to a website, what do you need to do? You need to follow the following format. You need to include all of the components found in a citation of a print journal, but also include the medium, which is online. So whether the journal was found online or whether it was a hard copy, a printed journal or a magazine. And then the website URL and the date that the article was accessed. This is important because sometimes the information keep changing, or to show your examiner or whoever is looking at your work, to show them that this was the date that you had accessed this information from this website, as it changes, and sometimes even if it is not available at the time that they are looking at your work, but still this date will show them that this is actually an authentic reference and you have not plagiarized it. So it is important to give the date. However, in the APA referencing style, you are not required to give access date of the journal article unless it is from a website or a source which keeps changing very often, such as Wikipedia. The information found on Wikipedia is not acknowledged to be a reliable source because sometimes the information is not accurate or it keeps changing very often. But if you are citing it from Wikipedia or some similar websites, then you need to give the last access date. For example, 14 Jan 2021. So what did we learn today? It is wiser to use references than stealing, never to plagiarize, and never to steal anyone else's idea. I hope this is clear. Thank you.